basically an orchard traditionally is a series of fruit trees in rows. Right. Might be an apple orchard or something like that. And that's typically how we do an orchard. And that works well. Then you've got typically like rows like that, and it'll be covered with grass. And the orchardist will drive up and down with the tractor and you'll be able to harvest your fruit and all those sort of things. So traditionally that works quite well from the production model. That's not bad. What's wrong with that? Yeah, I'll have guys and things like that. We're going to talk about, we call this place forest garden or the food forest. And that's a different way of looking at this, but today we're going to look at orchards, which is basically that basic sort of structure. But ways you can tweak it and turn it into more of a permaculture orchard. So we're going to talk about permaculture. Does anybody know about permaculture? All that topic? Okay. Now traditionally, if that was all apples, they're going to be subject to a lot of pests, diseases, weeds, that type of thing. That's traditionally what we've done in the past is use a lot of sprays. And sprays on the fruit trees and things like that. Isn't really such a good idea. Most people these days would be of the opinion that putting something on like that, it'll get rid of pests and diseases, but there's two things, it's not very healthy for you. And the fruit's typically not very good. And with this sort of system too, they would love to tell you, like Mr. Coles and Mr. Woolworths would love to tell you that there's only actually 5 varieties of apple. That's it. We have access here to 550 varieties of apple in Australia, and we can get some of those in for you, absolutely. And so now we can traditionally the orchardists will move up and down these rows and spray lots of chemicals and control pests and diseases and things like that. You can do it chemical, or you could do it organically. Organics would be better using this sort of system. That's fine, but it's still not addressing the fundamental problem. And the fundamental problem with it is why have you got pests and diseases in the first place? That's the main problem. And that's why the permaculture orchard is all about design. It's about thinking about the end result and thinking about the earth. Permaculture basically has 3 basic principles. You have care of the earth, as the first principle. And then you have people care, or care of people. As the second principle. And then we talk about sharing the wealth, or sharing abundance, as the third principle. Earth care, that's fairly basic. People get that. Most people get that. It's this one where is really interesting. Sharing the wealth. Most people, we think, if you've got a whole stack of apples you can pick and give it to other people. So it actually goes a bit further than that. Sharing the wealth also applies in a percentage of these apples or whatever fruit trees also get distributed back to the rest of the planet. The animals on the planet, the insects on the planet. We aim typically to lose about 10 to 15% of the production back to the other creatures that are involved in actually producing this for us. So that's one of the fundamental principles of permaculture. We've got a lot of apples out here, and we had a lot, the European wasps that came through, there's a whole stack of them, loved the apples. Right? And we started spraying them and things, and then we worked out very quickly that actually they were eating the fallen fruit off the apples, and they actually cleaned up all the rotten fruit on the ground. And yes, they're a pest disease, they're a pest problem, and I don't particularly like them because they're not native, but now I didn't have to clean up any apples on the ground at all, not one. They just desiccated and dried up and disappeared. It saved me a lot of work, because if the apples fall on the ground, what happens? You're going to get rats, you're going to get mice, you're going to get all that stuff. wasps out here actually cleaned up that area. So and then what you do as far as in permaculture, you don't just reach over and grab a spray straight away. You actually stand back and have a look and see what's going on in the system. That's your first principle. Observation is the number one principle. And so likewise, if you're planning to put a fruit tree in, have you had a look at the site where you're going to plant it? We recommend that you actually have a look at the site for about a year. And don't plant anything for a whole year before you look. Look where the water sits. Look where the air movement is. Not just the sun, where the shade are, all those sort of things. Where the animals are. What likely pests are you going to have in the area. Talk to other people in the area before you plant your fruit trees. Right? Things like that. Or hopefully a nice nurseryman who can advise you accordingly. But for someone who's gone before you, it's always a really good idea before you even dig a hole, right, and plant. Now, the other thing is dig a hole. So how many people want to plant some trees? No? Okay. Has everybody actually got out and dug a hole and had a look at the soil? Yeah. Really fundamental. Have a look at your soil first. Can't emphasise that more. You have to have a look at the soil. It's the most important thing you've got. Has anybody got any problems with soil? Have we got clay? Who's got clay, right? All that sort of heavy stuff. I can cover a bit of that for you. Also, wind. Wind's really important with fruit trees. Yeah. Frost pockets, those sorts of things. Frost can affect the fruiting on your fruit. If you get if it's an almond, for example, almonds are one of the very first fruit trees to produce fruit, to flower. And if you get a fairly early frost, you can lose all your fruit. So if you're prone to that, don't put an almond tree in. Just that place, because you'll just be disappointed. And if you don't want disappointment, you want production. We want to make this easy. There's just tricks and observing what you've got and being completely honest with yourselves.